The Moral and Legal Status of Animals, Part 4. The Moral Status of Non-Animals. So far we've focused upon the moral and legal status of humans and non-human animals, but what about non-animals? Some ethicists have questioned the notion that only sentient beings have moral status. They claim that moral status should be extended to all living organisms, including not only animals but also plants. These ethicists do not argue that plants have the same rights as humans, or that it's ethically wrong to eat a plant or to cause harm to a plant to benefit a human. Rather, these ethicists are arguing that all living organisms have some moral status in the sense that they are owed ethical obligations even in the absence of their benefit to humans. It is ethically wrong to clear a rainforest, not only because doing so could cause harm to present and future humans, or because doing so will cause harm to the many animals that live in the rainforest, but because the trees and other plants in the rainforest have an inherent right to survive and to flourish. It's not morally wrong to eat an apple, but it is morally wrong to destroy a tree when there is no good reason to do so. This approach to environmental ethics can be better appreciated by considering a thought experiment, the last tree scenario. Imagine that while exploring a deserted island, you come across a tree. The tree stands alone in a wide wasteland. No animals live in or near the tree. If you chop down the tree, no conscious being, present or future, would be harmed by the tree's destruction. Would you be wrong to chop down the tree? According to a human or animal-centered approach to ethics, such destruction would not be wrong, since no human and no animal would suffer harm as a result. You may nevertheless feel quite strongly that it would be morally wrong to chop down the tree. For some environmental ethicists, the intuitive response to this scenario suggests that non-human entities such as trees do have moral status. Our ethical obligations extend beyond conscious life to include individual living organisms such as trees. Again, the claim is not that the rights of plants override the rights of humans. No one is suggesting that humans must refrain from the consumption of vegetables out of respect for their rights. The claim is that all living organisms, including plants, have a right to exist, and those rights must be taken into consideration whenever humans face a decision the outcome of which would have an impact upon the environment. Some ethicists have extended moral status even further and proposed a holistic approach to environmental ethics. According to these ethicists, instead of focusing upon your obligations to individual humans, animals, and plants, you should focus upon your obligations to species, environments, and ecosystems. A holistic ethic demands that the land itself not be treated as a mere object or resource, but as an essential part of the complex structure of relations between living things. It's therefore deserving of moral status in its own right. The holistic approach to environmental ethics has, however, been criticized as advocating a form of environmental fascism. According to this approach, it would be morally acceptable to kill individual animals, and perhaps even individual humans, if by doing so you enhanced the well-being of the overall species or ecosystem. It's morally acceptable to cull kangaroos, for example, if doing so protects and preserves an environment being damaged by kangaroo overpopulation. What about the legal status of non-animals? Legal personhood has recently been sought for holistic and non-animal entities such as rivers. And in 2017, the New Zealand government passed legislation recognizing the Wanganui River catchment as a legal person. This legal reform emerged from the long-standing Treaty of Waitangi negotiations and formally acknowledged the special relationship local Maori have with the river. In the same year, a court in India ruled that the Ganga and Yamuna rivers have the same legal rights as a person, responding to a need to reduce pollution in rivers considered sacred in the Hindu religion. This means that the interests of the river can be protected from harm by appropriately appointed and qualified guardians. Whether these two legal developments are anomalous or the beginning of a new trend in favor of the recognition of the status of non-animals is yet to be seen. Pause the video and take a moment to consider the following question. What are some of the practical problems associated with the extension of moral and legal status to A. animals, B. plants, and C. holistic entities? Pause the video and take a moment to consider the following questions. Reflect upon your own position with respect to environmental obligations. Is it anthropocentric or non-anthropocentric? If it is non-anthropocentric, how far do you believe moral status extends? To animals? To all living organisms? Or as far as holistic entities? Justify your position. Pause the video and take a few minutes to try to answer these revision questions. If there are any you cannot answer, return to the relevant part of the video to review the material. Thank you for listening.